Hi there, this is Deneen TV and welcome to the Truth in Business Show. Today we're going to be talking with my friend Jennifer Puga all about what it's like to really hone in on your ideal client. Won't you join us? So Jennifer, just to give everyone a little bit of background, tell us about yourself and how you got into this current thing of what you do. Tell us what you do.
So I have always been a diehard entrepreneur. Ever since I was young, I had a side hustle, from babysitting for the whole neighborhood to trying to come up with my own bakery in high school. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. And long story short, I actually ended up with some chronic illness, even though I was working corporately. And I needed an opportunity that would allow me to control my own schedule, control my days and hours. And so I said, you know, I've always loved the idea of owning my own business, and started just kind of researching what could I do from home, something that wasn't too hard to get into, something I didn't need to go back to school to do.
Definitely important.
You know, and so I just started researching online. And the funniest thing is I came across actually being an at-home hotel booking representative.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I was like, oh, you know, I like to travel. That sounds fun. That sounds like something I could do. And so I just started researching that. Then I came into finding something called a host agency. And I'm like many people, I didn't think travel agents existed anymore.
Right, we're all online doing it. Why do we need someone to help us?
Why do we need a travel agency? We got so many websites where we can just quickly book a trip. And through finding this, what's called a host agency, I figured out travel agents are still well renowned across the world, actually.
Oh, wow.
And it was a great opportunity to build my own business, work from home, and create something that I was truly passionate about.
So is this something that you do have a support system for? Then it's not just like I'm hanging out here by myself. You have some training, you have some different things. Is it considered a franchise? How does that work?
That's a good question. Actually, so I'm not in a franchise model. When you're hosted, you really have a support network to jump into.
Okay.
And what's great about that is I didn't have to reinvent the wheel when it came to how to be a travel agent 101.
Right.
In my initial host agency, they're very supportive with webinars, training videos. Even there are conferences almost every month we can go to train on products and destinations. So one of the biggest things was not to be overwhelmed jumping into it, because
there's so many things to choose
there's
from.
so many things to choose from.
Yeah,
and if you already enjoy travel, some of it can be kind of tempting because you're inundated with these beautiful destinations in your email box like every day, like this place. So
right.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like, I heard you say you were an entrepreneur as a young person, you went into corporate, which I'm sure you learned a host of different things about how your personality is and how you work in teams and all that kind of stuff. How do you feel like your personality is able to help you come out of like even that team involvement to what you do now? Like you're basically a solopreneur.
Yes.
So how do you think your personality helps you with that, or what you've learned in the past, I guess?
You know, one of the things that's been pretty consistent this whole time, both corporately and owning my own business, I've always been a very detail-oriented person. So I'm very used to making sure there's a lot of details that I'm putting together and helping to make sense for someone else. I was an analyst when I worked corporately, and now, so instead of putting together marketing research details, I put together the details of a trip. And what's nice is, even though I'm not with a team anymore, which does get lonely sometimes, you know, being outside of that corporate environment, I have found my own personal network of other travel agents, both locally and even internationally now, that, you know, we kind of build our own little network. So we may be all over the place, but thankfully, since there's the internet, you know, we help each other out with questions. If I haven't been somewhere, I can ask a question to another agent who has, and vice versa. So the nitty-gritty is that we are in the details. You know, that's a major part of our role. And so that's a skill that I took from my corporate career right into my own business.
I love that. And if any of you know about the DISC personality test, the DISC, this lady is total C. She's our detail-oriented person.
Yeah.
When you initially started, and we met a couple of years ago, so I remember you've changed your focus, who you want to serve, where you want to go. You've done all of these types of things. Give us a little bit of insight into what is that onion peeling process like to really hone in on what you want to do and who you want to do it for.
Well, to be honest, some of it's just simply trial and error.
Okay.
Especially when you're first starting out, the first people you talk to are friends and family. So I joke they were my experiments, and so I worked with them first. But when I went out to start getting my first referrals and people, I kind of just evaluated. Wow, working with them really got me excited. I was happy putting their trip together, and vice versa. Working with them almost brought me to tears.
We always have our nightmare clients. We all have them.
We gotta be honest. We're not fit to work with everyone. And so I literally, this was about after 2 years in, I took a pause and said, okay, how do I work with more of people A and not more of people B? In a very nice way, of course.
Right, exactly.
Stop trying to go after business of people you don't relate to, you have nothing in common with. And for me, it was like, that's it. That's why I am so excited about putting together these clients' trip, but on these clients, I'm like, oh wait, I gotta call them today.
Yeah, exactly.
So I realized, I said, I have to find those people, because that's how we are. Let's say I'm interested in a hobby. One of the things that I'm really passionate about is great marriages for the Lord. Just encouraging people in their marriage, especially young couples. And I had to kind of do some personality tests and some research, and even look at my own background and say, what is it that really stirs me up? What is it, at my own church body, when I'm called to do something, what are those things that really stir me up, and how can I tie that into my business?
Right.
And that's how I kind of just started connecting the two and putting things together.
And I think that's so important. I know that I have said many times that I believe that our ideal client really is a person like us that has the same, maybe not the same background, but the same kind of values, and is looking for something that we're looking for in ourselves. And I think I've had people say, no, that's not how it is, but your ideal client could be somebody totally different. But I think as a solopreneur, as one that feels that real calling from God to serve a population, to serve a group of people, I think that he really does take all those background activities, all those experiences, all that stuff, and really uses it to say, now you're going to serve those people because you've learned something, and you can help someone else, like you said, have a great marriage. I'm able to see how this unrolls for me, and now I can share it with someone else. So tell us what a typical day looks like for you, because I know you're not just the businesswoman, you're a mom, and you stepmom, and a wife, and you have all these other responsibilities. So what does the typical day look like for you?
Yeah, for me right now, it's such a blessing. I can get up in the morning, I can get my son off to school, make sure he's good. He's really the only one I have to take to school and stuff like that, so that's nice. But I pretty much, wake up even before that and start my day with the Lord. That's something that sets up my whole day. I will literally feel so off if I have not had my prayer and devotional time in the morning with the Lord.
That's me too.
So even before we leave the house and before he's even up, that's the start of my day. And once he's up, it's pretty much, all right, let's, get rolling. And but really when I come back here, and I'm not gonna lie, sometimes we all know working from home gets lonely.
Yes.
So, if I'm feeling a little too isolated, I'll put on some music or maybe a podcast in the background. And a lot of it can be, I need to start off my day making sure, okay, our payments that I need to apply to people's trips done, that administrative day-to-day stuff. I try to get that out of the way first. Then there's following up on any inquiries I've had, or anything I was going to get back to a client, like a quote or anything like that. I usually start to do that. On the busier days, because I try to really have a schedule of peace, I guess I'll say, because
I love that. Schedule of peace. That you don't have to be like in the mad hustle every single time.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt, but I thought that was a good point.
Well, because it's something I learned, again, because I left my corporate job because of chronic illness. I had to create a business around my life, not have a business just be something else that controls me.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
So my whole thing is, all right, make a list, and I've used some of your tips for that. Even the 15-minute segments of tasks. I said that's great because it keeps me focused during the day, and it allows me just to say, all right, these are the things I have to do on my list. Here are time increments I can allot to them.
Right.
And especially in Michigan, once the weather warms up, I try to get outside a little bit during my day. Just, walk around the neighborhood and give me a mental break, because especially being in such a creative role where I have to think, okay, how am I going to put this trip together? How are they going to experience this destination? I'm most creative when I can get outdoors and just kind of let my brain kind of,
I love that.
Run with it.
I love that. As an entrepreneur, you can really use whatever it takes to be creative, to get the next idea, to have, to talk with the Lord, whatever it is, we can take that time. I love what you said, that you start your day with some of that business maintenance stuff. I've talked a lot about super aiding your day as an entrepreneur, and that really, if we take the time to do those 2 maintenance items, then 2 income producing, and then 2 relationship and 2 self-care. And if you hit all of those things every day, like taking the walk, that's a mental self-care and a physical body self-care, kind of thing. That really what happens is you feel, and I'll ask you, do you feel more productive when you've done those kind of things? And you can almost check off the box. And you come to the end of the day and you can say, wow, look what I did, look what I got accomplished.
For me, faith in business is not just, I pray for my business every day, and I pray, Lord, bring in the money.
Exactly.
That's good, but it's not just those things, And honestly, for me, going back to, for example, wanting to work with more honeymoon couples, I realized I'm on the phone with you talking about your honeymoon, but I'm like, you know what? If I hear something going on in your life, can I pray for you?
Right.
I've been through that too. Let's just pray, and that's really just how I am as a person. So it's not something I can, walk around and do in my regular life and then kind of cut off in my business.
Exactly.
And so that's actually something I found hard. Not that I won't work with all sorts of different people, but it's hard to cut that off for, someone maybe I'm working with a non-believer or something like that, because it's me, it's who I am. I mean, the Lord changed my life, and it's the very essence of who I've become. So, and
I don't think we should apologize for that. And we don't have to. Yeah. So I think that's so totally true. That so much of our lives, as women specifically, we can compartmentalize, and God says, I don't want you to be compartmentalized. Bring it all together. And I think He's bringing a lot of us together now to really be a force in the marketplace, to be a voice, to show who we are, because as I like to say, we still live in America, right? So we can be who we are. We can talk about our own experiences, and we can share that with others, and they can either accept them or not accept them. That's totally fine. So we've been talking about this ideal client. What kind of advice would you give to someone who is this multi-passionate entrepreneur who thinks they want to serve a whole lot of people? What kind of advice would you give them for all their ideas?
Well, something that I would say is what's really helped me as a multi-passionate business owner is to use the mind mapping method. And it really helps you. Some people call it a brain dump, but if I have a new idea on Monday, and it just stays in my head, then it just kind of grows bigger and bigger, and I've got a whole business plan written out by Friday for it, and then I'm unfocused because I'm in visionary land.
Yeah, exactly.
Idea. So mind mapping has really helped me just put it all on paper, and then either put it aside, pray about it, leave it to the Lord to really guide me. Is this something I'm supposed to be doing now, later, in the future? But it really, getting it out of my head is really what helps to not be so overwhelmed with all your passions. So,
Exactly. I found for me that if it starts to come up again and again, like if I'm journaling about it, or I have a lot of little sticky notes from the brain dumps over and over again, the same thing keeps coming up, then it's time to address it. Maybe it's time for that God's trying to tell me something because it keeps coming in front of me. We always talk about, if it comes in threes or something like that, but it's definitely a thing. If God wants to put it in front of you and you're ignoring it, he'll keep putting it in front of you. So I totally agree with that. And I love putting mine on sticky notes because getting it out of your brain takes all the whirlwind of it, because our brain will keep working on it. And so we get it out there. And so I love that with the sticky notes, you can move it around and you'd be like, I don't even know where this came from. Put it over there.
Why
those kinds of things. Exactly. Why did I do that? Well, I have loved having you with me today, Jennifer. I didn't even tell you, her company is called the Itinerary Artist. It is so great of a name because it really speaks to her creativity to help you with a trip, with a vacation, with an experience that no one else can give you. And you need, like you said, that travel agents are out there because they are giving people experiences that they can't find on their own just by going to Travelocity or whatever. Right. So I encourage you to connect with her no matter where you are in the world. She's here in Metro Detroit with me, but she can help you from wherever you are. And we'll put all of her information in the show notes. And what I really wanted to talk about too is that we belong to a group called Audacious Faith. Now, I didn't wear my pin today. I really apologize for that. But Audacious Faith is a community of Christian business women. And we'll put the information in the comments below as well. And we would love for you to be in our online community and really be in the circles, the sister circles, in our covenant relationships with one another. And there is going to be, and there are, local communities where you can connect face-to-face with women who are doing the same thing as you, connecting their faith and their business, loving God while being in the marketplace and standing out for Him. I love that. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, be filled to overflowing.